Okay, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you how to create a watermark for your pictures. First thing we're going to do is we're just going to go into Photoshop. I told it I wanted a 5x7 picture. I really don't need that big. And we just want to start with our text tool. And we're going to call this My Test Photos. So we're just going to type out what we want. And the next thing we want to do is find a font here. Let's go with Nuptial Script. Actually, let's go with something else. And we're going to want to make it about a 24 point. One thing I usually do when I'm working in Photoshop is I do a different background color. We're going to double click down here where it says My Test Photos. And add a little text art to this. Add a little drop shadow to this so it gives it a little bit more of a three-dimensional look. And there we have it. I'm actually going to make it bigger. If it's not looking right, that's probably because my video card's not drawing it right. So we're just going to drop our background and then that color there. And we're going to go to File and then Export. You can do a quick export as a PNG. And we're just going to call this My Test Photo Watermark. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we're going to go into Lightroom and we want to go to Edit and choose Edit Watermarks. And it'll say watermark style. You want that to be graphic. And it's going to come up and ask us want. You see that there. Okay, so we made a little mistake here. When I exported it, it exported the entire Photoshop file. So we're going to go ahead and cancel out of that, go back into Photoshop, and we're going to crop down to just as close as we can around our image there. The check mark. And then we will export again. This time I'm going to use the actual export dialog. And again, I'm actually just going to save it as the same file name. Okay, so let's go back into Lightroom again, and we'll go to Edit. We're going to edit our watermarks. And we want it. This is going to be a graphic file. It's going to open up the dialog where we can select our file. And it's still not right, so sorry, I have a little bit of a problem here. So I'm going to go back to Photoshop yet again. A lot of this stuff is simply just playing with what you get. Give it a different file name here, and then maybe Lightroom won't recognize it. There we go. So now you can see we got my test photos down there. Now this is 10% proportional, so it's 10% of what the total picture is. I usually go, if I'm wanting to do something in the center, we'll do it at like 40, slap it on the center, and then drop my opacity down to say about 40%. Just so it's there, you can see it, but it doesn't detract. One thing I would have done is probably dropped the black out in Photoshop. So I'd take my text, change the color to maybe not white, but yeah, I would drop my fill color to white, change my stroke to black. What do we have? There we go, that's what we want to do. We want to do our fill opacity down to 0 so that it is actually transparent. And then we had a drop shadow. And I apologize about going back and forth and back and forth. This is kind of like a live unproduced thing. I'm going to do this would be how you would get one that is pretty much just a transparent. So while we're working with that, let's go ahead and export it. And we'll call it transparent. Back to Lightroom. So that's what our first one looked like with the black text. Let's go for the transparent one. Now you can see the transparent one, I can have that watermark up there a lot more. So unfortunately, Lightroom doesn't let you move that watermark exactly where you would like. One trick that a lot of times I will do, if I know my watermark needs to be on the picture and I want to make sure it's, you know, not right in the corner where it could be cropped out, I will take and inset it a little bit. But you can basically put it in, 9 different areas here and then move it. So you can kind of dial it in, get it where you want. I'm going to stick with that one. We're going to make this about like that, and we're going to put it smack dab in the middle here. So the Lightroom is going to tell me that we need to create this as a watermark preset. I'm going to save this as a new preset. I'll call it test video. Here are some of the other watermarks that I use. Sometimes I'll just put my name down there. Put my name in the corner. If I want it in the center where it is kind of obtrusive. When I do work for the radio station, they want their logo in the lower left or lower right hand corner all the time. Let's go back to our test photo one, and we'll tell it we're done. Now Next thing I'm going to do, we're going to be building an export profile. So you see when I right click on the photo and choose export, I have all these different export profiles. I can basically click on one of these and it will export it with the settings that I want. The one that says shine is for the radio station. But we'll go up here and go export. We're going to build one from scratch here. I'm going to add, and we're going to put it in, give it a folder here, test videos. And we'll call this test in the center. We're going to do a couple of things with this. So first thing, just going to run through the export dialog. So when I go into export, it's going to want to know where I want to put this. I always put mine in the same folder as the original photo. Basically, it's easier for me. We'll do it in a subfolder. This one's called FB Export, which is Facebook Export. You don't want to check Add to Catalog. I mean, unless you want that watermarked image in the catalog. I don't want to do that. Existing files, we want to tell it, ask what to do. What that means is if I try to export this file twice, it's going to come up and say, hey, got 2 of these. Did you want to overwrite? Do you want us just to create a new name? And if it does create a new name, it just like puts a 1 at the end of it. So that is set how we want. So file naming. My file naming convention that I use on import, because I've got about 4 different cameras, all running at different numbers. So I always go month, date, and then 2-digit year, dash, and then the original number from my camera. But I could do basically any kind of name that I would like. You can insert tokens, so that would be a custom text. We'll take that out there. So I want to put the original file name, and say I want to put the author's name in there. It would be creator. So I can put a space, dash, space in there. That way, if that's seen by someone, they'll know, whose name it is. And you really have, everything that you would ever want to name it. These are pulled from your meta tags. So I had GPS in there. It would, if I had the GPS data in there, it would put the coordinates in there. But we're just going to leave it as the original name. So the common thing that comes up in the group is, what are my settings I need for Facebook? So right here, JPEG 90, quality at 92, color space, sRGB, image resizing, long end 248 pixels, 240 pixels per inch. You always want to put don't enlarge, because let's say you shot this as a small JPEG and it's less than 248. You don't want Lightroom to expand it to 2048. We're going to sharpen for the screen, and we'll tell it we just want it to do the standard amount. I have it set to include all metadata. When you upload to Facebook, it's going to strip all the metadata out anyway. And now we come to watermarking. We're going to check that we do want to watermark, and let's go down to test video. And that is good. Now, if you are, you can edit your watermarks from here as well. It's actually where I usually do mine at. And post-processing, we're going to want it to, you can tell it to do nothing. For this video, I'm going to have it pulled up in Explorer so I can pull it right up. And now we can go ahead and, since we made changes here, we want to right-click on our export preset and tell it to update with current settings. Now we're going to go ahead and hit export. File. And we are done here. So here is our picture in Windows Photo Viewer. Definitely, if you have any more questions or anything, drop them in the comments below, or shoot me a message on Facebook. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.